Okay, just going to run through a quick video on butt wink. Had a couple of questions on Instagram and we just spoke about it on the podcast. So the link to this, if you haven't listened to the podcast, I'm not sure what episode it is, but whack it in. It'll be something to do with bodybuilding and CrossFit, so go and check that out. Butt wink, so what butt wink is just as you get to the bottom of a squat, often is hips rolling under. I'll try and demonstrate it with the bar here now. So if you just watch my hips as I get to the bottom, hips rolling under and then standing up. That might have been an exaggerated example, but generally that is what we're talking about when it comes to butt wink. And the question, Jen, was how to fix it and the sort of process of how to fix butt wink. For me, the first thing to check would be midline and bracing, because often what you see is from this top position, instead of hinging and squatting in, would be someone will just poke the hips and then obviously jamming up their lower back. Then as they get to the bottom, they're going to roll under because their hips can't keep extending outwards. First thing to check would be the old thumb, finger into belly button, thumb on sternum test. Put those on there, put your little finger into your belly button, thumb onto the sternum. Keep that brace. As you squat, that distance there should stay exactly the same. So that's what it should look like with those distances staying exactly the same. If you were to lose and extend through lower back, then you'll lose that bottom finger. So as you'll extend, then you can see, hopefully you can see that my little finger there has come away from the belly button because I've just poked my hips back, and then you're going to get that rounding at the bottom. That would be the first thing for me to check. Second thing would be to try and fix the stance. So very often, what I quite often see is people will go straight on with their toes. So they'll go pretty straight on with their toes there and try and squat in here, which is quite difficult. This is probably the gold standard of squatting. If you can squat like that, it's perfect. If not, then just give the heels a bit of a kick inwards and then drive the knees out over the toes. That's going to let you sit much more upright, drive the knees out. Very often fixes it straight away. Third thing would be to look at mobility. So first one and the easiest one to go with is to just give a heel lift. So if you whack 1.25, 2.5 kilo under your heels, I'll do a side on to start with. Pop those under your heels. Just going to give you the impression of a bit more mobility at the ankles. So as you squat, you'll be able to stay much more upright because your knees can come further over your toes. That's going to be the first test because it's the easiest one to just replicate the fix. So that'll be the first one. Next one, once you've fixed that, we'll do this one from front on. Next one would be getting them to drive their knees out. So you've given them a heel lift, it's not fixed the problem. Next one would be to really try and drive the knees out and check that they have got the ability to be able to drive the knees out over the toes. It's quite often, if they're limited in the sort of groin, knees will come straight forward and then they're going to get that fold in into the bottom position. They get that fold in because they can't drive their knees out, keep the chest up. Final one on mobility would be just hamstring length. Very often getting to the bottom of the squat, hamstrings just haven't got any more length, so they have to pull on the pelvis and it will roll the hips under. That would be the last one. Easy way to check that, just roll onto the floor. Great, we'll go this way. Easy way to check that would be just lie back. You'll raise the leg test. If you can get to 90 degrees, you've generally got pretty good hamstring length. Some people might get stuck here, probably where you're lacking if you're still getting butt wink. So if you run through that process, run through each of those 3 points, you'll go a long way to fixing that butt wink and to stopping that roll under happening.